My name is Amy Biggetti. I'm a librarian at the Basler Library on the Blountville campus. Today, I'm going to talk to you about literary research. I'll show you how to find literary criticism that is required for some of your papers, and what to do when you can't find what you need for the paper you want to write. First, let's take a look at the library's literature databases. For those of you who may not know, let's go and start on the Northeast State homepage here and click on Students and then Library to get to the library homepage. Once there, you can click on Databases here or here. Both links will take you to the A to Z database page. Once you are here, if you click on the All Subjects drop-down menu, you can scroll down until you find Literature and click on that. This will take you to our literature databases. Today we're going to go and concentrate on two of the databases in the Best Bets box. And normally I use this one, Gale Literature first, then Literary Criticism Online. And then if I don't find what I need, I do go into JSTOR, but we're not going to explore that today. So let's go into Gale Literature first. Now, because I'm here on campus, this automatically goes to the Gale Literature homepage, but if you are home, you will have to log into the library using the same username and password you used to log into your Microsoft 360 Outlook StuMail email address account. If that doesn't work, let the library staff know so we can troubleshoot the problem. Once you're on the home page, the first thing you should do is type in the name of the literary work you want to research. For our purposes today, I decided to use The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe because I think everyone reads that one at some point. When you type in The Raven in the search field, a drop-down menu appears with suggestions that might be helpful. I like to pick the title that is most specific. In this case, it is The Raven, Poe, Edgar Allan Poe. If you click on that, it'll begin your search. Now, if you get a lot of results, there are many different ways you can narrow those down. The first one I like to use is the Search Within box. For our purposes, let's just say that we're going to do something that involves animals that talk. So let's put in talking animals because The Raven always says nevermore. So let's hit submit, and that's going to go and pull up materials that have that go and address the talking animal in the poem. And look, we actually brought it down to one single item, but it does go and look like it'll be pertinent to your topic. Let's go back really quick. I want to go ahead and show you also. You can limit it by subject here. If there's something you think within this subject area that might be helpful to you, you can limit it by that. I always find that useful. Also, you can limit it to peer-reviewed only journal articles. But let's go back again and look at the Search Within results. Search Within, talking animals. So you found an article you like, and you looked here at the little summary and go, that looks like it might be useful. You click on it, and here you go. This is your article. And you can print it, email it yourself, save it to Google Drive. Here's the Cite button where you can get your citations for MLA, APA. Just remember to double check these when you copy them to make sure they're correct because they do make mistakes. You can print it, download it, so on and so forth. So as you can see, it's not hard to use this database. So let's go back into the library homepage and the databases. And then the literature databases, and go into Literary Criticism Online. let's see. As you can see, it looks very similar. And let's try to look up literary criticism about the Raven again. And we're going to put in the Raven. We get the same results here as far as the drop-down menu is concerned. And now there's more results on this page. So let's go and let's try again to limit our topic by searching within. And let's see what comes up when we do talking animals. Now there's different criticism in here than the other one, so nothing might come up. Talking animals. Okay, no results. So let's just type in bird. Let's see what happens. Birds. Bird. Because we want to focus, we'll say focus on the Raven. All right. We'll say that the I'm looking through these, see if anything actually writes more about the bird as a symbol or anything like that in here. And okay. Let's look at this one. Mad Ravings or Sound Thinking, the Philosophy of Composition and Poe's Paradox Raven. So you open this up. Now this is the main reason I want to show you guys what this looks like. Is basically the articles in this database have been scanned in. So they're a little bit different to look at. So if you go down here, you'll see there's this blue section. That's where this starts. Because again, these are scanned in pages from a book. We actually have a bunch of these in the library, physically in the library. So the blue part is actually your article that you're reading. If you go through here, it keeps going until the blue part ends. And that's just an easy way. It shows you that this is the article you're reading. And you can zoom in if you need to. Zoom out. You can print this. So on and so forth. Now, I'm actually curious. Yes, this is the way it used to look. And now they actually do have a plain text version, which might be easier if you want to print off. Though this one over here does have certain qualities to it that you can see, bold words, emphasize, so on and so forth. So this may be useful to read as well in this format. Anywho, again, you have those same features though: cite, download, print, get a permalink, so on and so forth. So that's how you use those databases to find literary criticism. And let's go back to our PowerPoint. Now that we've gone over the database, there are going to be times that you get an assignment or you have an idea and you are unable to find literary criticism about your topic. You have options. A, you can always contact your librarian. We'll do our best to help you find the materials you need. B, you can talk to your teacher about changing your topic. Or C, if you like your topic or it was something that you thought of yourself and you're excited about writing about it, you can venture beyond literary criticism and even literary sources and prove your thesis with sources from other subject areas combined with the ideas that you have about your literary work. For example, let's say you read The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe and thought it was fascinating how the murderer's paranoia grew until he was having auditory hallucinations as manifestations of his guilt. So, at this point, let's say you've already started your research on this, and you went into the databases like we did just now, and you looked up your story, and then you did a search within for like paranoia, guilt, psychosis, so on and so forth, and you couldn't find any literary criticism about it. The next thing to do is start exploring it separately from your literary work. Let's say your thesis statement is post-psychotic murderer's paranoia and guilt causes auditory hallucinations that forced him to alleviate his feelings by confession. You need sources to support this idea outside of the story. First, I would identify the main terms in your thesis: psychotic, paranoia, guilt, and auditory hallucinations. You need sources that include these concepts. You can choose more general sources about psychology or try to find specific sources that discuss these ideas in details. First, let's start in the library's online catalog. To get to the library catalog, you can start your search here in the search field that we have on the library homepage. Or you can click on this link, which is what I like to do, to get to the library catalog page itself. Now, what we're going to do is start searching for the psychology topics. So let's start with, let's see. Let's start with auditory hallucinations. And then you'll see it gives you options to search everything, the library collections, or course reserves. I like to use the catalog especially to go in and search the library collections for books or ebooks. So I'm going to start here and do library collections, and then instead of all libraries, I'm going to limit it to Northeast State. And let's go and hit search, and you can see we get 21 results. So we can go and you can either limit it to available online if you only want to use ebooks, or Help by Library will give you physical items that are in the library's collection. But let's look around. Let's see. Therapy for refractory auditory hallucination. No, now wait a second. This book looks really good. Muses, Madmen, and Prophets, Rethinking the History and Science and Meaning of Auditory Hallucination. Now, especially the scientific part of auditory hallucination might cover some of the materials about how that can be part of psychosis. And basically meaning, someone's insane. So this will be a great book for you to look at. And you can see here it's available at Northeast State at Blountville. And it has the call number right here. If you want to read a little bit more about it, you can go in and open up the record and look here. Now, this book, disappointingly, does not have a synopsis, but sometimes you can read one right here. And if they do have one, it's very handy to use. Now, if you're able to come here physically on campus, you can go and just write down the call number and come here and pick up the book. Now, right here, if for some reason you want it sent to another campus, say maybe you're only in Kingsport or Johnson City or Elizabethton, you can sign in here and you're going to use the same username and password that you use to sign in to the databases or your Microsoft 360 Outlook StuMail account. Let's see if I can get this one right on the first try. I usually don't. I did. Okay, so once you've done that and you decide you want to send it to another campus, all you have to do is hit request and then pick up location. And don't use the high schools. We will not send books there. But you can choose Northeast State Elizabethton, Johnson City, or Kingsport. Now, if something happens and you go and you do choose Blountville, we actually ask you not to do that. We want you to go into the stacks, pull the books yourself, just as a learning experience. And you can always ask us for help if you're having problems finding the material in the collection. Okay? But anyway, I'm not going to fill out this form. The only thing, again, you need to fill out is the pickup location. Everything else is pulled from your library account, which is tied to your school account. So, Anywho, so let's go ahead. I'm going to sign out here. And let's go back into auditory hallucinations. And let's look up, let's see, hallucination type stages and treatments. Now this is available online. This might be another book that might be helpful for you, especially if you are not able to come to campus because your classes are all online this semester. So let's hit available online. And you can see which collections they're in. And then just click on one of the ebook collections. And as you can see, there's a little summary here. And you can go in, look at the table of contents, and psychotic-like experiences in non-clinical adolescence, hallucination, suicide risk, analysis and relevance of psychotic-like experiences, repercussions on the continuing model of hallucinations. It looks like there might be some definitely interesting material in here to talk about in relation to your story. You can also use the index as well to look up materials that might be useful for you. Like, let's see. Right now, that looks like it's more references. Here we are. It just started a little early. So you can go through here, look at the different words, and see if anything jumps out at you that might be useful. Let's see. Let's look for some of our keywords, for instance, psychosis. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the keywords. Psychosis, guilt, paranoia. Let's see. Emotional distress might be useful. Let's see. See, I don't see anything on guilt, but let's see if they have paranoia. And, tons of stuff on paranoia. So see, by using the index, you can pinpoint different pages that might be useful for you in your work. So that's how you use the library catalog to find books and ebooks. Let's go back to the library homepage. I have that handy dandy link. And let's take a look in the databases and see what we can find there. Now let's go back to the online database page. And in all subjects, you can go down and choose psychology. Now there's several different databases you can choose from. Let's go and let's choose, we'll do psych articles at first and see what we can find here. Let's try paranoia symptoms and see what comes up. Well, this one, actually, the first one looks very interesting. Temporal associations between sleep quality and paranoia across the paranoid continuum. You might be able to use that to say that because the man is literally spending his nights spying upon this poor old man planning his death, that sleep may even have increased his paranoia along with his guilt, his lack of sleep. There's all kinds of things you can play with this. Loneliness over time, the crucial role of social anxiety. Let's see. So if you find an article here you think may be useful, simply click on it. And you can see it has an abstract, which is basically a summary. And then scroll down and see if you think it'll be useful, you can read this article. And again, this is easy to use. You just go in, you can email it. Here's the citation button, like in the Gale database. Permalink you can save to get back here later, so on and so forth. So let's go back. Also, before I forget, if you do get like a ton of results, you can always go in and limit them by date, peer-reviewed journals, And if you want to search within, like let's do paranoia and guilt. Nothing came up. So you can always add more search terms in your search field, or you can just simply start over again and doing guilt. And seeing what comes up, guilt and shame, self-blame. Now, let's see. And you might be able to find stuff. Nostra culpa, collective guilt and shame as predictors of reparation for historical wrongdoing. Actually, no, I don't think that won't be anything about this. But like I said, you can go in and look around. Proneness to shame, proneness to guilt, and psychopathology. You can go in just like you did in the other ones. Look at the articles, read the summaries, and see if you think they'd be useful to you in your paper. So let's see, that covers EBSCO. Let's go in and you can try other databases as well, psychology. Like, let's go and do psychotic symptoms. Moral cognition, the missing link between psychotic symptoms and acts of violence, a cross-sectional national forensic cohort study. This might be something very interesting to tie into your paper. And again, read the abstract and see what they have to say about it. And you can use the citation button again, download, print it, but read it, save it for later, and see how you can tie this in to the literary work itself to prove your thesis. Okay? So once you've exhausted the library's resources in the catalog and the databases, you can go into Google and look around. However, you do need to remember to go and be very critical of the sources you're using. Make sure they're trustworthy. There's a method called the CRAP method, and you can just Google this. There's going to be a lot of different resources about this. And so you can see you can find the CRAP test. And let's click on one of the images here. Most of these are going to be from libraries. Is it current? Is it relevant? Is it authoritative, accurate, and what's its purpose? Basically, if you need something like for medical or science, the currency of the information is going to be very important to you. So you need to check if it's current. Is it relevant? Just means, was it written towards the topic that I'm discussing? And what audience is it written for? You can't use materials from a kid's page or student work if you find that online. The one exception to student work is if it's a thesis or dissertation. A lot of those are saved online, and you can use those because they're basically the final work that determines whether or not people graduate, and those are evaluated by their professors to make sure it's professional work. So with that exception, though, don't use students' work, student papers as sources. And make sure, again, it's written for college level material. It's not written towards high schoolers, middle schoolers, or even elementary school students. As far as it goes for the authoritative, make sure that it's written by someone who is knowledgeable, who will claim the material and put references on there, who cares about the work. If it's written by someone who's anonymous, and you might be a little suspicious of whether or not it's true, or if the information is accurate. Also, if you are looking at a website that doesn't have, like, it has entries on your topic, but it doesn't have people who took credit for them. If it's a page like, say, the Mayo Clinic or the American Cancer Society or the American Psychological Society. Those are going to be websites where they may have articles on there or entries into like dictionaries or encyclopedia-like entries about topics. And you know that they're good material because the reputation of the organization is behind their work. And the next thing again is look and see if it's accurate. If you go and find materials on a website that have mistakes, it's poorly edited, people obviously didn't care before they posted this what people would think of them, and I wouldn't trust their materials. And last but least, what's its purpose? If it's trying to convince you of something or sell you something, or it's clearly biased, again, I wouldn't use it as a scholarly source. But again, just remember the CRAP test, and you can go and you can Google that and pull this up anywheres. Okay? Once you have sources that you think will support your ideas, you simply connect them in your paper. Draw examples from the story and tie them to concepts from your research. For instance, here's a sentence, actually more of a paragraph, you might write in your paper. Poe's murderer psychosis is evident throughout the story. The mental health website describes the symptoms of psychosis. It involves hallucinations, delusions, and paranoia. The murderer has all of these symptoms. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. He had the eye of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell on me, my blood ran cold. This statement is clearly delusional. The older man simply had cataracts in one eye. The murderer also clearly shows he suffers from auditory hallucinations, saying, "It was a low, dull, quick sound, much such a sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. And yet the officers heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased." And in the end, it was the murderer's psychotic paranoia. Was it possible they heard not? Oh my God, no. They heard, they suspected, they knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. That led him to reveal his crime. Now, of course, this is a short and simple example of how you apply general research about a topic to prove your literary thesis. You can see here where I took parts of my source and then gave examples from the literary work that illustrate how that source applies to that line in the story, thus proving my thesis. When you write a paper like this, you're going to, of course, have to expand more on your ideas and fulfill all the assignment requirements, including length. It's not going to be this short. But this should give you a good idea of what I'm talking about today. And remember, you can use almost any subject and apply it to any literary work. For instance, I once wrote a paper about how marriage laws in the 19th century caused the death of a character in Wuthering Heights. My sources were the book and historical legal rules from books on English law in the 19th century. Or you can use sociology books to discuss how creating a social structure on the island influenced the events of The Lord of the Flies. Seriously, the possibilities are endless. Now, if you guys have any questions, please remember you can contact me or the other librarians for assistance. And if you look on the library homepage, you can find a Get Help link here and here. If you click on that, it's going to tell you how to submit a question, call us, text us, email us, or you can even chat with us live online during our library's physical hours and our virtual hours this semester. You can even schedule an appointment that we can do one-on-one or via Zoom if you have all online classes. Believe me when I say we're willing to help you, and especially me. Feel free to contact me anytime for assistance. If if you have questions about this presentation or how to structure and do research for a paper like this on your own. Okay, well, that's the end, and good luck. Thank you so much for your attention today.